This is the Burger Man. I'm here to react on Talk the Walk episode 7. This is the franchise that is here to stay with Astro Beaver, also with Sean Porter. And just analyze this video and I'll, pause and give my feedback and see what it means to the community. Let's start.
All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Walk the Talk. Showtime, Sean Porter here with none other than none other than the CEO of the Undisputed Video Game, Ash. Appreciate you for joining me, my man.
No, pleasure to have you here, Sean.
I'm here at Steel City Interactive Studios. I got to do this for me, and I feel like this is something that the gaming community, the undisputed gaming community, they need this. I feel like what I want to do is put things into perspective for you guys, and I feel that, like I told you last night, being authentic, being real, being transparent, I feel has always been what gets the job done. And it says, the truth will set you free. You guys launched this game in 2024, right? Officially launched this game in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
You started working on the game in 2020, around the pandemic, right?
Correct.
When were the first thoughts of creating a video game? When did that come into play?
So myself and my brother, we've always been boxing fans, gamers, and we were fans of like all the previous boxing games that came out. And over time we always kind of said, like, damn, why is there no boxing game coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like literally one evening, my eldest brother Asif, he gave me a call and he was like, look, let's just try something. Let's just try making something really small and simple, right?
Yeah.
We've never, we're not game developers, so let's see what we can do. And I was like, okay, sure, we can start it off as a little, side hobby. And I've always had an interest in these kind of things, learning new skills. And so we from that moment, we just got stuck in, and it completely consumed me. Like the moment I could see literally from a beginning of how do you make a ball move from that side of the screen to the other side.
Yeah.
And a little bit of code, and you see it happening, and then you think, oh, okay, what if I replace that ball with a human character?
Wow.
And then that led to the next thing. Okay, how do I make the arm punch?
Yeah.
Like, how do we do the animation? So that early period, myself and my brother, we basically self-taught the entire piece until we created our own concept.
Wow. You guys, you specifically were just a gamer. Like, it was, obviously you got your day job, but you've always loved video games since you were a kid.
Yeah.
I saw the Atari downstairs. I saw the Sega Saturn. I've seen every known to man console in this building, and they all belong to you. So you are a gamer, and then a big boxing fan, humongous boxing fan, and wanting a new fight night to come out, where's this game? I need this in my life. And then your brother, who's slightly older than you, just says, hey, let's I found this little software, let's check this out. And it just kind of grew.
Yeah, I mean, it was all organic, right?
Yeah.
I think it was a passion project. Like, we got stuck into it, and it just didn't feel like work,
Yeah.
That's the thing for me, where I'd spend literally 10-12 hours.
So it looks like he's very passionate about the game and was very curious to there hasn't been a boxing game in 13 years, so let's dive into what can we do and how can we start. And that's what it seems like from this part of the episode. So let's continue and play and see what else feedback he does or what else he says.
Like coding, animating, doing all these kind of things, and it just didn't feel like work. And I was like, this is definitely it.
And you just felt like we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been like an absolute nightmare at times, right?
Yeah.
Where you're thinking, this is insane. Like, what are we trying to kind of pull off here?
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a part of a journey where getting the boxing industry involved and having backing from you guys has been it kind of drove us on even more.
Yeah.
Where we had a fighter come and see what we were doing, and then seeing their enthusiasm and like, oh wow, this could be pretty huge. It kind of spurred us on even more. But then when we got the likes of, the WBC, the Ring Magazine, all these guys coming on board and getting behind us, it really gave us that extra motivation when things were getting tough on, many occasions. But yeah, we just kind of, drove through all of that.
At what point did y'all say, okay, we need to hire some people for this?
I think it was at the moment where, actually we didn't make that decision. Like I didn't make that decision myself. Okay. Like I always knew that, if we did this right, then potentially this could be huge in terms of everyone like getting on board.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to rush anything. Like for me, it was always about protecting the integrity of what we want to do here, which was making a realistic boxing game. And I wasn't really going to let anything kind of get in the way of that or even compromise in that space. But what happened was we had like a local boxing firm called Empire Tape, and they supply the hand wraps for like every fighter in the UK and even some in the US as well. And through Ryan Rhodes, who was like one of the first people to join the studio.
It just seems like and like you start a business and he was so passionate about what he was doing, and as you working on the project, things started to fall in place. It wasn't like that in the beginning, but as you keep pushing and you keep prospering through the tough times, it seems like things will fall into play. Now he's about to talk about how he's getting certain boxers, and let's see how does he meet them or get them inside and stuff like that. It looks like he's about to say that right now.
From the boxing world, he introduced me to a guy called Dean Sharif, and it was actually him who was like, "This looks like pretty amazing what you're doing here."
Yeah.
And at this point, there was me, my brothers, and a close friend, and they're like, "How much would it take to kind of like expand and build this out into like a bigger game with more people?" Because up until that point, it was all self-funded everything, and we were going for 7-8 months, and so he invested, and that's kind of what got the wheels in motion, because at that point, like, this was our own project. Like I wasn't going to go and ask anybody for any funds, anything like that, because it was all our own thing, and I was comfortable with that, right? Because it's just my responsibility then, right?
There it is.
So when he said that, I was like, hey, look, I ain't too comfortable about taking your money or investing, like, because this is just something that we're doing as a passion. But I think he saw, obviously back then, 5 years ago, that he kind of saw something that he thought, this could be pretty big, and he jumped in, and that's what we started hiring our first staff, and it snowballed from there. The likes of.
So right now, somebody invested in the game. I think one of the boxers from Sheffield, and like he says right now, he didn't want no loans from nobody, but I think in a sense it probably makes sense at that particular time to use that money to make investments in the game. So it seems like that started that little bit of money started the foundation of what they have.
Of many people in boxing now getting behind the game.
It's crazy to know it's been 5 years already.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's probably felt like more like 20 for me. But it has, in other ways it has flown past. But yeah, just going back to the support we've had, like even with the Riyadh Season guys and His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh getting behind Undisputed. It's I guess it's surreal at times.
Let's even go back a little bit before that, because I've done a couple of things where I've had to start from the ground up, right? And I know what it feels to have those moments where you feel like it's not gonna work out. I know what it feels like to have those moments where it's like I'm just done, and then something happens and it's like it's always working out. and it's always there's something that's gonna push you forward. When you started creating a boxing video game, you didn't know any boxers.
No.
So kind of take us through that whole process of getting Sean Porter and getting Terrence Crawford and getting Canelo Alvarez and, you know, Roy Jones Jr., you know?
I mean, that's been an amazing journey in itself. As a boxing fan, like,
Yeah.
forget the game element of it for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, just me even meeting you guys, even sat down here, you know, talking to you, like, spending years watching you fight on you know, on the TV. It's, you know, that on its own is pretty mind-blowing for me. And I think it always will be, just as a boxing fan. But, yeah, I think the way it grew organically was I had a friend who I knew had contact with Ryan Rhodes, and you know, Ryan being a Sheffield legend, you know, we give him grief about losing to Canelo, but I guess that's not
Canelo.
that's not exactly. But nevertheless, we still give him grief over that.
Yeah,
But so I contacted my friend. I was like, look, you know, Ryan, you know, I'm doing this project here. You know, can you connect us? And Ryan got involved, saw what I was building, and he was like, yeah, definitely love to be involved. So then Ryan kind of opened the doors to the likes of, I mentioned, you know, Dean Sheriff at Empire, but then other fighters like Johnny Nelson, who's helped me from, you know, from the start as well. So then like one person led to another. And here's the thing that I've learned about boxing, even you as a fan, where obviously, you know, you guys haven't always had the best relationships with, you know, managers who have maybe not treated fighters fairly, and even with promoters, you know, doing things they shouldn't be doing. So I think with me, when fighters, managers, agents, when everybody saw that my only agenda was to make a boxing game, and I was always true to my word in any agreement, anything that I've ever done. I mean, I've licensed like over 360 entities.
Wow.
Right? That's fighters, managers, brands. And like with every single one of them, like I've always stuck to my word.
Yeah.
Because I know boxing's a very small world as well. So I think when people knew that I was genuine in terms of what we're trying to accomplish here, it genuinely made things easy.
Yeah.
Like even talk, you know, speaking to the likes of Terrence and you know, Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, like they've all been absolutely amazing, because I think in their eyes, and I don't know if you feel this way or not, but it was almost like for them like a breath of fresh air, where it's not someone trying to come and, you know, use them in some way or trying to swindle them out of anything like that.
Yeah.
So for us, you know, we're just straight-laced people. You know, we've been raised very simple. You know, treat other people how, you know, you like yourself to be treated.
Yeah.
And that's how we've built the studio.
We don't have to go into the act.
So basically, you know, since he was so genuine about his dream of making a boxing game, people looked at him like, you know what? All he do is want to make a good product. Let's hop on board. Let's you know, he didn't have any malicious intent, and he was genuine. You know, I give you guys a quick story. I actually met Ash at the Paley Museum in Manhattan, and when I met him, he seemed very genuine, very friendly, but very well spoken, and we talked about a little bit about, you know, the game being sim, and his vision is to stay on that road. And he explained to me he wanted it to be the most realistic simulation boxing game ever. And but one of the words when he spoke to me, he seemed genuine about that, you know. And he keeps telling me, like, you know, it's hard to implement offline play to online play, but I think they're on a way to make that dream possible. But I don't want to keep too long. But it's just, all I'm trying to say is that he was very, you know, when I met him, he was very genuine and humble, and I believe what he's saying. He really believes he wants to make a simulation type of game, the most realistic boxing game.
Actual business. But I feel it's vital for people to understand that there's a boxing video game here. And while you all are waiting on this update, that to happen, why isn't this working, and so on and so forth, try to tread the storyline of what it takes to get one fighter. You said over 300 entities, right? In this game. I'm gonna lead you there, right? But I want you to try to kind of explain to people loosely what it takes to get a fighter in this game. I'm gonna use myself as an example. I'm one of over 300. Someone came to my house. Well, actually, somebody called me. Hey, we want to talk to you about being in this video game. Dad looks at me. It's a video game. Like, oh, all right, get an email. This is, we want to meet with you. Da 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 da. We meet with someone. I'm not gonna say what it is, but we meet with someone. We have a conversation, and you guys show me a contract for me. Okay. I looked at the contract. My dad looked at the contract. We like what we saw. We made a couple of addendums based on what I felt I could contribute to the game. You did that over 300 times, right?
Yep.
That's why we haven't had a game in the past.
Correct.
There hasn't been anyone.
And I would like to stop it right there. This is big reason why I guess EA didn't want to make another Fight Night based on their sales. I think Fight Night Champion didn't do well in sales, and it's so hard to get licenses for these fighters. It's not like the NBA or the NFL, the UFC, everything's in one organization. This is what they're saying right now. You have to go to the fighter's house or wherever they at, sit down with them, and actually write a contract for every boxer or every person that's involved that wants to be in part of the game. And that takes a lot of work. You need connections, and I don't know what the contracts say, but whatever the contract said, it was probably they were all pleased to have. They were all pleased whatever the contract was, and you got guys like Sean Porter, Terrence Crawford, Canelo, Tyson Fury, and that's so hard to do. We gotta add some credit to actually do that with no actual real backing.
One who was willing and able to make the connections, do the groundwork, and get everything going to get a game to be produced.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're absolutely right. I think because boxing is the only sport where there isn't an overarching entity, right, that controls everybody's rights,
right.
And it just makes it like a simple one-stop shop to get everything done.
Right.
But just our pure love for the sport,
Yeah.
Like, it was like, there's got to be a boxing game.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, my own mentality was this, right? In those early days, I thought, you know what, if I can't sign the likes of Sean Porter or Canelo or Ali or all these names, like, I kind of thought, well, if the big multi-billion-pound studios aren't doing this, then like, who the hell am I to say, oh, damn, I wasn't able to do this.
Yeah.
So I kind of went into it without any expectations, right? I was like, I'll give it my best shot. If it takes me 3 years to do it, then I'll spend 3 years grafting and getting these fighters signed, if that's what it takes. And for larger studios, that's a lot of time, money, and effort that they could be spending elsewhere. That's going to make them more money. But for me, this was never a venture or a project that was about how much revenue or money we're going to make from this. It was always purely about, we want to make a boxing game. Me as a fan, like, I want to fight for the real belts.
Right.
The WBCs, the WBOs, the IBFs, right? I want to, have real fighters. Like, I was tired of seeing other games have all the licenses and everything, right? And boxing, even previous boxing games, never had all the licensed fighters and all the governing bodies and everything else, right? So for me, that was kind of like the motivating factor. And in terms of, making sure the deals worked for the fighters, like, for me, again, knowing how boxing works, and once you've retired, it's like, fighters are kind of just left out there in the wilderness, right?
Yeah.
So just being able to be part of something that's able to give back to the fighters themselves after they've retired, their families, it was something that like I 100% like got behind and did.
Yeah.
And if you know if we were a corporate, you know, suits run company, we'd look at fighters, right, and we would basically say, oh, do we really want this guy in the roster? What's he going to bring to us? Like, how much money are we going to make from having this person in the roster? That's why previous boxing games, you know, for the most part, they've only introduced people who they think, oh, we'll make revenue from this person. I've got fighters in our roster that have actually cost us to create, test, develop, and we've had no return in terms of having that particular person involved, right? For us, it's just a way as fans to either even help young up and coming fighters, to give them a platform, whether it's through marketing, whether it's through people having eyes on their character. So, you know, I've had you know, some of those up and coming fighters say to me that since their inclusion in the game, they've seen their own viewership increase. They've seen more people buy tickets to their fights.
Sweet.
So again, just for us as a studio, like Undisputed is more than just, you know, a game where you're beating someone.
So in the beginning, he didn't have a lot of good fighters, right? I remember being an early access user. But I see fighters that are like, who is Scott Quigg and who is Dalton Smith and who is such and so, and I was like, I've never heard of these guys before. And as you use some of those guys, and Anthony Corolla, I've never heard of them. Those guys, I'm more familiar with the names of like Canelo, Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, the likes of those guys. The other guys who are not so famous, they're pretty good too. They have good traits and they have, they're pretty dope too. And I can only imagine what the game did to their lives. And you know, to say I'm gonna be in the next new boxing game, that changes someone's life, and they've never been into one, you know.
Someone up in the ring, right? For us, it's about supporting the community, supporting boxing. Where we're doing a lot of charity work now with boxing gyms, where, you know, we're paying for kids boxing lessons, getting them off the streets. We've done that. You know, we're starting to do that worldwide. You know, we've done that here in the UK. We've done it with a gym in Boston. You know, we're helping like Roy Jones's gym, for example. So yeah, for us, it's just a way for us to give back to the sport.
Yeah, love that. And let's talk about the studio real quick, and then we'll get out of here. But, you know, I think it's very important that people understand this ain't EA. EA's playing with millions and millions of dollars and shareholders and all those other sorts of things. This is an independent, created studio, and the list kind of goes on. How many employees you guys got now?
So we have 82 now.
82 now.
Which is, again, it's an insane number considering like how we started and the speed of that growth.
Yeah.
Running a company with 82 staff. And, you know, we're still hiring as well. You know, we're still hiring because like we know the game needs further polish, improvements. And, you know, about this being the foundation, right, of creating that boxing game that we've all wanted as fans. So yeah, we're just delighted with where we are right now.
I would like to stop the tape right here very quick. I would like to let you guys know on episode 6 on Talk with the Wall, I didn't do a reaction to that, but I'll give you some information on it. Ash hired the best people, the best programmers for Undisputed. And the reason why you probably not have an update yet is because they're working on those issues. And he hired people from outside source to help fix the game. And when the next update comes, it'll be ready. When it's ready, my prediction is the desync will be fixed. And that's something that's needed in the game. You know, gameplay gotta be definitely fixed. But if they fix the desync, which I think they're gonna do on the next update, in my opinion, because they hired from an outside source and they're getting the best people around the world to deliver. And on the next update on Undisputed, we're gonna have a great experience. It's looking bright. For those who are not playing the game, who lost faith, they will be back. Trust me.
I think I mentioned, like in the previous video that we had on our channel, that you know we have 125,000 players playing our game every day.
Wow!
And that's just it's I guess it gives us validation that we're on the right track. It gives us validation that people are enjoying the game, and it just drives us forward as a studio to make it sustainable. Even going down to the simple things of giving people employment, it's just for us as a studio. It's a great thing to be part of.
I love that. I love everything about this interview. This will be the last one, and hopefully this will be something that will motivate everybody that's watching and listening. This is part of who I am and what I do. So hopefully somebody pulls something from this. You started creating the game in 2020 during the pandemic. You are a gamer and love boxing, and we should make this game. That's the vision, right? And you've seen your vision come to life. What's the vision now?
So the vision now really is building on what we've started, right? Where like this isn't the end game as far as like we've made Undisputed and hey, we're done, that's it. So for us it's really about building out the franchise. We have fighters signed on long-term exclusivities for Undisputed as a franchise, and we've had the likes of Todd Grisham, Jose De La Cruz, Igis Clemas really helping us in the background, kind of making sure that we are building out the franchise. So whether that's signing more fighters, big improvements to the game, and this is a franchise that's here to stay. And for us, like as far as the vision goes, the boxing world, and I guess from a gaming standpoint, we've kind of merged the two together. Just with our involvement in events that take place, whether it's Riyadh season events, doing a partnership with DAZN. So I think for us, we're an integral part of boxing now, and that's a beautiful thing for us to see. Coming from, we're making the game, and we're in Kingdom Arena in Riyadh where people can play the game. We're talking to DAZN, we're talking to Matchroom. So yeah, it's just a really exciting 2025.
What's been your favorite part about this whole process?
I think my favorite part is meeting you guys and seeing that
Ash seems very happy on the success of Undisputed. Not because he made a lot of money, no. He's very genuine and he really keeps his word. I mean, right now the game is not in the state that we want it to be, and he knows all the problems and knows all the issues. He's going to fix them, and as this game continues to grow, this is the only boxing game that people are going to play. EA Sports has lost, EA Sports has lost their mojo because they already signed these fighters. They already Undisputed signed almost everybody you can think of. They were gonna have to outdo Undisputed, which I don't think they can. Once they fix the issues they got, trust me, Undisputed will be on its way to be a better game.
Like whatever perception or things that we as fans have like on the outside, you're just, for the most part, everyone's like down to earth, really cool, chill to get on with. And I think for me, because there's always that saying, right, like never meet your heroes kind of thing, right? And like I can honestly say I've never had a moment where it's like, oh yeah, this person, this guy isn't like, what isn't what I kind of thought they'd be or anything like that. So as a boxing fan, like, it's hard for me to keep the fanboy inside me. Where it's like, hey, I'm CEO of this company, we're making this project, a huge thing. But like inside of me, I'm like, oh man, you gotta ask him about this, you gotta ask him about that, ask him about this.
The first time I met you, like you were kind of like, you weren't hovering, but you were kind of like just, you were watching me. You weren't really saying much. You were watching me, and I'm like, I'm over here like, yo, that's the CEO, like, that's the CEO. So I felt like we were kind of like feeling and thinking the same things. And then at one point, I was like, what's going on? Like, why won't he say anything? Like, you're kind of like in a fan moment.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. No, exactly. That's what it was. You know.
That's awesome.
And
That's
I
awesome.
think I'll always have that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
always
yeah.
have that.
Man, it's my favorite part of everything I've done. My favorite part has been making the relationships and meeting the people that I never knew were watching me, that I was watching. You know what I mean? So, Ash, thank you for the interview. I hope everybody enjoys this interview. Furthermore, take a look at everything that's going on the the SCI side of things. That way you guys can get all caught up with all of the updates and everything that's.
Right before this video ends, I would like to let you guys know I also met Sean Porter. Great dude. Um, Sean Porter is in the game. He's one of the guys that represents the game, and he's here to tell everybody that he is going to make sure that the game gets on track. And he's like a public voice for the community too. As for Ash is working very, very hard to deliver what he has promised in the beginning, and you know, those who are in doubt, that's fine, but you guys will be back sooner than later. And I'm pretty sure by around March or maybe April, the game will be in tip-top shape to where everybody's playing the game. You guys who stop playing the game will continue to play the game again with no disturbance, with no fear, you know. And as this wraps up, let's wrap this up.
That's going on, and let's just keep this thing moving.
And I appreciate you having
got
me
it.
here, Sean.
You got it.
As this wraps up, just the undisputed community, guys who bought this game, keep the faith up, keep supporting the game. If they drop any like DLC, support it, and God bless everyone. It's the Burger Man. I'm out.
There it is. Talk the walk.